Hello, this is Malorian with the Orc Tactical Team, and here's team member Fatigus. What we're going to be talking about today is the idea of the metagame. So this is something that at first I didn't really do, then I kind of did it on my own, and then when I actually learned this is a standard thing that a lot of top tournament players do, I really put a lot more thought into it. And so really the idea of the metagame is the process you go through when you're first making your list. So when you're preparing yourself to go to a tournament or going to just play with your buddies or anything like that, there's that process where you start making a new list. And maybe at the first time that you're making a list, you just kind of throw things in, right? Like, oh, let's try this out today, or maybe these are the only models I have, so boom, there's my list. But there can be a lot more thought put into it to try and help prepare yourself. So some of the simple things that you want to do is, first of all, looking at, like, if you're going to a tournament, what are the top tournament builds? What are going to be the main things that people are going to be taking to try and win? And do you have elements in your army to deal with it? So things like, can you deal with stanks? Can you deal with dragons? What are you going to do if you start seeing a magic heavy army with big powerful spells? How about a magic heavy army with lots of spam spells? What if you see a shooty army, right? What if you see an all-night army? You got to just keep all these things in mind and make sure that you have something in your list to try and counter all those different things. Or if not, knowing how you're going to try and use those draw tactics just to try and hide. And if I get matched up with this bad matchup in this tournament, okay, I'll do this, take the tie, and go off from there. So that's really important. The next thing you want to do is, after you know these top tournament lists, is start thinking more about your area, because just because these are the best tournament lists to use doesn't mean you're going to be seeing them in your specific area, or there could be certain ones you're going to see more than in other places. I know here where I'm from, for one reason or another, ogres and orcs are really popular. So it's just things like that. Maybe in your area you see tons of demons. You have to always make sure you have, lots of war machines to deal with those greater demons flying around, right? Or you need to have a lot of dispel dice to try and deal with all those horrors. It's all those things you got to keep in mind. And it really is a gamble, because if you start changing your list to try and deal with this one focus, then if all of a sudden they take something else, or something else is really prevalent in the tournament, then all of a sudden you're at a disadvantage. So you're doing all of this to try and help yourself, but you have to be kind of wary that this is kind of a gamble. The last thing you want to think about when you're doing the metagame is you want to be looking at your own list. Because just like how right now you're trying to think of what you're going to do with your list to deal with others, other people are thinking about what they're going to be doing with their list to deal with yours. So, some things you might want to look and try and take advantage of is know that, people know that if they see a dwarf lord or some crazy war boss, that they're going to go and try to avoid it or redirect it. And so knowing that, maybe you're just going to take a bare bones dwarf lord or war boss, knowing that you can put all your points somewhere else. Another one is, like, if you're going to be taking the bloodthirster, right? A lot of people just assume they're going to be taking the item that makes it so magical weapons are ignored. So maybe knowing that, and knowing that people are not going to even bother or going to be avoiding him, you can just save those points and put into something else. So those are some of the things you can do. The last thing I want to say is that there is a big difference here between the metagame of a big group of games, say like for a tournament, and the metagame for a one-on-one type game. And that's kind of the idea of basing your list to beat one army. So whereas I would highly suggest that you should be going and thinking about the metagame, thinking about what you're going to be facing, and trying to balance your list to beat that. That's only to be an all-comers to take on lots of armies. What I would not back up is the idea of, if you're knowing that, oh, my buddy, he plays this one particular army, he plays Dark Elves, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to take these flaming weapons to destroy his Hydra, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, doing this, because really it is going to become kind of unfair, unless both of you are doing that. If you have an agreement before the game that, our next game is going to be Warriors of Chaos versus Dark Elves, bring out your best, then fine, yeah, go ahead and do that. But otherwise, it's one of those things, going back to being a bastard, that you got to be careful with. And if you start taking army specific countering army items, that they're going to start getting annoyed with it. So that's all I want to say about the metagame. So just covering it again, you want to think about what are the top tournament builds, you want to think of what's the most prevalent armies in your area, and you want to also think of what other people are going to be doing to try and counter your type of army. So that's it for the metagame, and next time we're actually going to get into orc stuff finally, and we're going to be talking about war bosses. So hope to see you then. Bye.